if I can help that.
There we are.
We're live.
Now we're live.
I don't know where, I still don't know where we are. There we are. Are we really live?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that way, Nancy.
Okay.
Success.
Dawn says we're not.
Okay.
Success? I don't know about that yet, Jeff.
There's a delay.
I
I just want to warn you, there's
I'm
a delay.
optimistic.
Very.
1 minute, she said. There's a countdown. Who knew?
All right.
Really?
Oh,
No, it says
God,
live
you
on
know,
my
probably
screen.
all of this is going to be on her thing then. You got to have your volume off. Yeah. The assistant is handling things.
Break dance.
Should we have hand signals?
Panama.
Okay.
I'm in a box. I'm in a box.
Going back to your mime days, are we?
Yeah. Yeah.
I suck at that.
I'm a balloon
Hey,
artist.
I think you might actually be being recorded on live right now. So
Oh, great. I was just kidding.
I can
about
make
Panama.
some mean balloon animals. I'll give you a run for your money there.
mm,
I think
We are
we're
just
live,
waiting.
Nancy. We should get going.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Now we're live?
I think we've been live. There's a delay.
Okay.
This has been good so far.
No, I just
Wow.
want to say to all of you, if your performance appraisals are affected by this tonight, I am so sorry.
Yep. Mine can only go up.
Unemployed.
Yeah.
In the meantime, hey guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming in and checking in with us tonight. As I posted in the event here, I'm Nancy K. Smith, and this is the Real Estate Roundtable. And tonight we're meeting with some of the managers at First Weber. We thought it would be fun to talk about our experiences and how we work with our agents. So I actually rounded this motley crew up, and I gave them a list of questions that I actually let them prepare for, and I only modified it slightly within the last 24 hours. So do you guys, let's go around and everybody introduce themselves. I'll let somebody start.
Okay, I'll start. My name's Jeff Kuhl, and I am the manager of the downtown Madison First Weber office.
And
Megan?
you've been doing that for how long?
Oh gosh, I've been with First Weber now for, gosh, I think it's 18 years.
That's a long time. Who's next?
I'll go. I'm Megan Frasier. I've been with First Weber, I think it's 11 years now. And I manage our Sun Prairie office on the east side of town.
And Mr.
Oh, me? Okay. Yeah, Tom Weber, and I've been with the company now officially with a paycheck for 32 years, and I manage the East Madison office.
And I'm Nancy K. Smith, and I am the manager of the Southwest region, and we have offices all across Southwest Wisconsin. And I've been with First Weber about almost 20 years, but I've been in real estate 23. I might be the only one who ever worked anywhere else. Yes?
No.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, sometimes agents do move to different companies for different reasons. And I will say that this was the best move of my life. I have had the most success with First Weber. I have met the most awesome people, and here's 3 of them with me tonight. And so I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about that. Does anybody else want to add anything before we get started?
Let's get started. Other than
Let's
you said
jump
you
in.
sent us these questions ahead of time, and I think the email came in at 5:45 tonight.
It was ahead of time. You
I
have
haven't
45
seen the
minutes to
email.
prepare. Oh, I do like the element of surprise. I'm just going to say. All right. First things first, think back to when you were young. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I'll start off on this one. When I was young, when I was going through high school and college, I really wanted to be in politics, which is a sad thing to say right now these days, it seems, but I really wanted to be a lobbyist. I thought that I would do a good job at that, and I sort of jumped in. That's what I studied in college. And then as I started to do some campaign work and internship for actual politicians, I sort of didn't agree with me, and I had to pivot. And so that was my original thought, though.
Awesome.
My original plan was to be a teacher, and I had a job in college working for a daycare center, and that lasted maybe about a semester before I got a fire truck thrown at me and had a really rough day. And I called my dad in tears, and he was like, "I think you should go into business." So another pivot for me, and I ended up with a marketing degree.
Nice.
I thought I was going to be an architect until I got deep into trigonometry and figured out it was going to take 7 years of redrawing other people's drawings, and I had no patience. And so I kind of came to real estate by accident. I always said I'd never do it.
I wanted to be a housewife, and then I wanted to be a psychologist. And yeah, none of that really worked out. So I really
You're in
like
real
real
estate.
estate though.
Yeah. You're
It's a
kind of a
lot like
psychologist.
psychology. It's
Yeah.
a lot like.
Psychology comes in helpful, I'm sure.
So did being
Yeah.
a housewife, actually, staging. Hello, I'm your staging gal right here. All right. Okay, let's talk about your first real job after high school or college.
Okay, I'll jump in again. You know what? I got done with college. I moved back to Madison, and I was stuck living with my mom. I didn't have a job. And as much as I love her, I needed to get out of that house. So I took a job at WPS doing customer service. I was basically answering telephones for WPS. And it was not an awesome job, but it certainly made me appreciate how hard that job is. And I treat people much better on the phone than probably most would.
Nice.
Shout out to Kitty Kuhl.
Yeah. What up, Kitty?
Stuck with his mom. I was going to say Christmas is right around the corner. You might want to rephrase that.
My first job out of college was for a bank in their community relations department. So really community relations meant marketing, leveraging our brand within our smaller communities, that kind of thing. And it only lasted about a year before I moved over to First Weber.
Okay.
A lifer, I actually interned for First Weber throughout college.
Oh,
I remember
nice.
Me too.
Yeah. Worked at the front
I'm
desk.
the most boring. Yeah, you did. I'm the most boring one. This is my first job out of college. I never left.
Oh, lifer.
I started in sales and 5 years later was managing and have never left.
Okay, but in our day and age, that was an anomaly. Now people are doing that. Like our realtors are getting younger and younger. My first real job was a news clerk at the Telegraph Herald in Dubuque. Anybody from Dubuque? I know you guys are watching. I actually worked at that job all while I was going through college. I started in high school and I stayed there for 10 years. And then I thought, well, you know, I have this social work degree I should do something with. And I got into a housing assistance program for the city of Dubuque. And then when I moved to Wisconsin, I couldn't find a job. And I had this family I needed to provide for. So I thought, well, why not give real estate a try, right? So the point of this whole thing was to kind of prove that, you know, none of us really grew up, maybe except Tom, thinking that we would end up in real estate.
True.
We should say why. I mean, you had a family connection to Weber Realty, which is part of the founding organization for First Weber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most people would say, are you going to follow in your father's footsteps? And they wouldn't get the question out of their mouth before I said no. Yet here I am.
And then, little did you know.
Then a degree in real estate and marketing, and never found anything I enjoyed better. So here I am.
Away we go.
I may have grown up, but most people think I haven't.
Well, so do you find that within your offices, you have got such a varied group of people? I would say maybe diverse, because we've got so many backgrounds. And I think pretty much anybody can be a realtor, no matter what they've done, no matter what school they went to. I actually wanted to be a hairdresser for a while. I still fantasize about that. But, you know, I think that's Tom, you know why. And I think that people come to real estate because you can be you truly can be an entrepreneur. You can build your brand. You can set up your business the way you want it to be. Do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. I think anybody who has sort of that entrepreneurial spirit, if you will, or, has that drive and is motivated to build their own business can find success here. And I think what's so cool about our business is the varied backgrounds. You look around the office and no one person answers the question in the same way. They all have different backgrounds, different education, different work experience. And that's what makes it all work. And that's what, they're able to get business from different areas they pull from, their previous experience. So it works really well.
I agree. Anybody else want to come in?
I think a lot of them, yeah, I would say I think a lot of people come in with a teaching mentality. Megan mentioned that she had an interest in teaching. We have a lot of people that come in from that sort of a background that do very, very well. I think really though, it's just, if you enjoy helping people, this business really bodes well for you, and the rest of it comes. I have lots of people that have come in that didn't consider themselves entrepreneurial and are extremely successful realtors at this time. So I don't think there's any one good thing besides a passion for helping people.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Jeff,
the
do you
only
have anything?
the only thing I would add to that is I think that the flexibility is really appealing to a lot of people. The idea that there isn't set hours, it makes it easy for someone. Like for me, as I was getting into the business, my son was young and growing up, and I wanted to go to all of his games. I wanted to coach some of his teams and be available that way. And boy, I could just put those things on my calendar and work around them. And I think that's appealing to a lot of people.
I agree with that. And now, especially, we're looking at this year of, I'm just going to call it change, the year of change that we've been through. Seems like a few years, but it's only really been about 6 months at this point. But I think we are finding, and I think some of us are surprised at how many people are coming to real estate and leaving other professions because it's easier to get your career going in this environment and start making money. So that's where we are. Okay. What would you say is your style of management? This is a very vague question.
Yeah, I'll start with this one. I think, my style of management is one of sort of being pretty versatile. Based on what we just talked about, you get all different types of people that come into this business, and some of them want to make, $1 million. Some of them are just trying to supplement another job. And I think that as a manager, I need to be able to sort of pivot and provide the kind of support to help each person get to their goal. And each of those goals could be very different. And there's nothing wrong with the person who maybe is retired and this is a second career and they're looking to just put money away for vacations or to buy a second home somewhere warmer. Then you've got other people that it needs to be their main income. They have a family to support and they're going to be working on a totally different business plan. And so as a manager, I sort of think about it from a very personalized standpoint. Each person's got a different need and I need to be sort of able to fill each.
Yeah,
I like that.
I would second what Jeff said. I feel like we all try to meet the agent where they are, whatever that looks like, whatever point in their life, whatever expectation they have for the business, which I think probably makes us all sort of, if you've read the book, Shauna, if she's out there, will love this, but
she's out there.
Shout out to Shauna.
Shout out. But
we love you.
I think a lot of us try to be servant leaders where we show up for our people and we attempt to be supportive and guide them and mentor them wherever they're at in their journey. I know particularly I'm really far from like your authoritarian or rule enforcer. That's just not really my style at all. So I'd probably be the opposite of that.
Yeah, I think all of us through the culture really are much more hands-on in our training and more of a peer training and support. And, that's actually one of my absolute favorite things about the office is the peer support from the other agents and the real teamwork that actually comes from a close office family.
I agree. We have really developed a culture where people cheer for each other, and that's amazing because we're not making money. We're each making our own money, but to be supportive, to answer questions, to be available, And I guess the only other thing I would have to say about, as far as a style of management would be that everybody has a different idea of success. And for me, it's important to know what does that mean to you? Is it money? Is it so many closings a week or a month? Is it so many closings, or not closings, but do you have money for vacations or to buy that second home? I mean, everybody's got a different idea. And I think that's a notion, there's a stereotype of realtors that we're all very, very deeply connected to money. And I think it's because, the commission is our paycheck. We're independent contractors. And I think it's really important to know and realize that not everybody is driven by money. I found it odd at first, but I get it.
Yeah. If I was going to add one more thing, Nancy, I would just say my style, and I think some of the other managers on this call would agree, I have a smaller office. I sell real estate as well. And I'm lucky in that regard, in that I get to use some of my own personal experience with buyers and sellers to bring on new agents to sort of get their first listing. We might co-list a home together. I may have a buyer that I'm too busy. I might refer to a newer agent in the office. And so the idea of having field work and the ability for someone to learn firsthand, if they don't have a client right away, it's a nice way to learn.
Yeah. And I think we probably all have different styles too, in terms of helping people with accountability. But I think all of us do accountability in one way or another. And that's really up to an agent. If you want accountability, we're here to give you that. But what that means, it means we're gonna like hold your feet to the fire. That's what accountability is, right, guys?
Yeah, and to Nancy,
Absolutely.
to your point, as we're talking about different types of people getting into the business, the people that want to make a lot of money, that want to make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, that requires a system often and a program. And that's part of our role then, is to say, okay, you want to make $300,000 a year, that's going to involve a pretty intense program and a business plan and maybe some accountability if you need it. But that's different.
The systems, I think, are really important because we have so many systems built in. And that's one of the things that we really excel at, is that we offer people, help with it. Is it drip campaigns you're interested in? Is it, the print shop or things like that? And I think that I agree. We all seem to have the same notion that whatever that person needs is what we try to give that person. And I think we're all very good at being flexible with regards to that. I'm going to go off script a little bit because this kind of leads me to something. I think we've all seen the HGTV.
I thought this whole thing was off script.
Yeah, I'm freestyling.
Ish. I sent you guys questions 45 minutes ago. Okay.
Oh.
I was in an appointment.
What about HGTV? What about the so-called reality real estate shows? Tell me about, let's talk about those.
We have a 9-foot TV in our collaborative work zone, and that's what we play most often because we consider it comedy. And that's about what I have to say about that. It has so little to do with the reality of being a realtor. I think if you watched old episodes of LA Law, you could be an attorney if that were the case. And I know that's not. So there's a lot of things we have to correct for people when they're coming into the industry to help them understand what a real day in the life of a realtor is. They don't just pick from 3 houses and every buyer's fully financed and every house is perfect.
And also not every house is $1 million or 3.
Or 100.
And then the jobs these people have where they can afford the $1 million house.
Yeah.
It floors me.
I love the memes on Facebook where it says, I'm a butterfly farmer and my husband, writes books for children.
Right.
Butterfly
and our budget is $9 million.
That's good.
That could be your second career, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure
if the tap dancing doesn't work out.
Yeah, the pantomime and the tap dancing. Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk more. We've alluded to the systems at First Weber. I want to kind of get back on track here a little bit. What's your favorite resource at First Weber? What do you think is the best thing we have to offer agents?
I'm gonna guess maybe we're all gonna say the same thing. Maybe not, but mine would be the help desk. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's what I rely on probably the most, only because they're there to help with any and everything, but typically a lot of the things we need help with um, tend to be things that feel like they're out of my control, which is technology, marketing, just looking for assistance. So I lean pretty heavily on them.
Yeah, and I will, just to fill in what you're saying, Megan, about the help desk, is it's a cool system. It used to just sort of focus on technology, but now we've opened it up to our whole corporate staff, and basically any question that any realtor could come up with, whether it's, how do I create a marketing page? How do I, leverage myself through Google better? How do I make a mail campaign to a downtown condominium building? You could ask any question and someone really qualified will get back to you immediately with an answer. And it's pretty awesome. I agree with you.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say Tom Weber is also a pretty great resource of mine. He gets a lot of text messages from me.
Me too. He's been a great one over the years.
But in all,
Wow.
I mean,
It's literally in his blood.
right. Everyone on this call, though, is been available and has been a resource to me. So outside of like the tech side of things, I think the sales side of things is just the people. It could be the agents in the office. It could be the other managers. It's just nice to know that I'm not on my own almost ever. It never feels that way.
Yeah, that was the thing I
have to
wrote
say-
down. I wrote leadership is one of the best things that the company has. And it starts at the top and it dwindles down to all of our managers and our agents. And that, if I do have a problem or a question, I have great resources, whether it's our attorney, Kim Mormond, whether it's Shauna Alt, who's my boss and one of the leaders of First Weber. It's easy to get good information all the time.
Absolutely. I have to say too, I remember long ago when I joined First Weber, I was at an event and we also are really good at people, right? People know who you are. They learn about you, they know about you, they care about you. And that really blew me away. One of the first things I ever went to when I first joined First Weber, Bob Weber and Jim Imhoff, who were our leadership team at the time, both came up to me at that event. And they both talked to me about the importance of marketing myself and the importance of being active in my community. And I've never forgotten that. And it really has become very important to me. It's something that I've never strayed from. I believe that we build our communities. And these are two incredible leaders within our company who modeled that for us. So I think that in doing so, they created the foundation, and the foundation is a way for us to give back within our communities to nonprofits that serve our communities. And they do that in matching grants and other things. And I just think that's incredible. And that's a great resource for us as well.
Yeah.
This question I did get ahead of time, Nancy, and I actually did write down the people, but my thought process had really been not only that, in our offices, we have agents that have been with us measured in decades. They don't seem to leave. No. And so it's really easy for someone coming into my office to reach out to agents in our collaborative work area and have 100 years of real estate service at their fingertips, just talking to 3 or 4 people in the room. And the way that they're willing to give, I think many of them got their start because of other realtors helping them out. They realize that, and they're all looking for a way to pay it back and pay it forward. And so that culture within the company, I think, is probably one of our strongest resources. The help desk and the training, I can't say enough of. We've got that in spades, but without the people, I think the whole thing falls apart.
And that, what amazes me is as we have grown over the years, because we've grown a lot over the years, as we have grown, none of that has been diluted. In fact, I think it draws people to us and they want to give too. We really, we have the best of people involved in our leadership, involved as agents, the incredible things that people have done, and being involved in their offices and doing things together. I'm just so proud to be a part of that. So, okay, we're moving on. Do most of the agents in your office work from home, or do they like to come to the office and work? And I understand it's COVID, so we're dealing.
Yeah. You know, so like right now, very few people are working out of my office location. They come in when they need to print something or do something that they need to be in the office for, but not right now. But ordinarily under normal times, I'd say, gosh, it's about an even split. In my office, I have 24 agents in this office, and I see about half of them regularly in the office, and then the other half I don't. I would add though that the ones that I see the most, at least in my location, tend to be the ones who are doing the most business. And whether they're being disciplined with themselves and they find that they're more productive in the office, for whatever reason in my office, my culture, the ones who are here more seem to be the ones doing more business. But that's changing, I think, and I think this COVID is probably opening that up even more.
Anybody
Yeah,
else?
I agree.
Megan?
Yeah, the busier agents in my office are in pretty much daily. Not all day, but most of them are really good at maintaining their schedule. So we tend to see more activity in the morning. You see a lot of them in the morning dealing with paperwork, making copies, they're at the printer, kind of running around. And then it quiets in the afternoon because they're out with their clients and customers, face to face. But those that are doing really well, they make their way in every day.
And I would say for me, my office is a little bit different. Half of my most successful financially agents don't come into the office but 6 times a year, and the other half are in every single day. And so it's a real mix. Right now during COVID, I would say no more than about 15% of my office of about 50 agents are really using the office with any regularity, and the rest are all working from home. But that comes back to kind of where we were with the help desk and the technology. We were already set up to work mobily from anywhere, anytime. It was just a question of which agents had taken advantage of those abilities, and they were able to pivot quickly. And thanks to a lot of training we brought on quickly, the others were able to do it very, very fast. And so for my agents, oddly enough, during a pandemic, the vast majority are having a better year than they had last year. And that's not what we all expected on the front end.
I have to say, for me, I am a regional office. So our headquarters is the Dodgeville office, and we don't have everybody here. We have some satellite offices around the area, and we have a lot of people working from home. And that's actually been one of the best things about First Weber, is that we offer these tools that are web-based, that if they have an internet connection, they can do their jobs. And a lot of my agents are very self-sufficient, self-motivated. If they want to come to the office, they do. We highly encourage it. And we have systems in place because of COVID, where if they come in, we are social distancing and we are wearing masks and we're wiping down equipment. But for the most part, we've always been very much virtual. And the tools that we have by using Microsoft Teams to connect, I would say we're just doing so well at staying together and staying connected, and we're kind of all on the same journey. So it's been a blessing to us to have the technology that we have at First Weber. Okay, going in a completely different direction. Tom, you should have got the memo. What is the best thing about your job? I love this. What's the best thing about your job?
You're asking me? I get to start?
Well, I just wanted to make sure you were aware that question came to you ahead of time, more than 45 minutes ago. Like a week ago.
I was on an appointment.
A week ago.
I'll go ahead and say, my absolute favorite thing about the job actually is the people, and being able to help agents realize what they can do, and that there is no glass ceiling in this environment. And I think some of my favorite stories are people who came to me from other careers where they felt that they were limited, and getting them into real estate and seeing what they can actually do. And most of them surprised themselves and have taken it to places they couldn't have even wildly imagined in the front end. So I would say that's my absolute reason for getting up and coming in the morning and working with the agents to build their businesses.
Yeah, mine would be
Megan.
people. I mean, I love my people. I've built relationships and friendships in this business that are lifelong. And, that's outside of the workplace, which I think is just super cool. But I probably find my most joy working closely with new agents. When you see them get that first deal, get through that first transaction, over those hurdles, and really start to make it in this business, there's something really, really special about that and really cool. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm genuine in when I say that. It's really fun to see somebody find success here. And they're surrounded by a group of people that, are their cheerleaders. So it's really fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's been that's the best thing for me too, is the cheerleading piece of it, the like encouraging people, helping them think outside the box, and kind of like, well, I never thought of that before. And, just sending them a note card and saying, you guys are doing great. Like, thanks for your help this month on, whatever you did to help us meet a goal, or, just the fact that we can connect with them in a way that we are supportive, but also we are so supported by our upper management and the leadership at First Weber. And I don't think in the entire time I've been involved with the company, I can never look at a time when they've done anything that wasn't good for the agents. Like, we are totally, totally connected to our agents.
Yeah, and I would echo what most of you have said, and it's the people, it's the successes. And I'm lucky I've got a team of really great realtors here that, some are very experienced, and, their milestones that they're hitting are huge. But I love the new ones too. That idea of showing someone a way to make a living. They come into the business kind of unsure, is this going to be the right thing for me? And then, am I the right kind of person for this? And I think what I've learned in my years here is helping someone lean into who they are, being authentic about who you are. So, people prospect in different ways. And I think sometimes just embracing who you are and leaning into it, and the people that you meet. And, I guess the example that I give a lot of times is when I first joined to be a realtor here in downtown Madison, I joined the Downtown Rotary Club, and I thought that would be a great networking outlet for me. And it was awesome. They meet every Wednesday, they have lunch, and for whatever reason, it didn't resonate with me. I wasn't making any good connections there. And ultimately, I left the Rotary Club and I joined the East Side Club, which is more of a beer drinking social club. And I loved it. I'm on the board of directors there, and I have so much fun. And I accidentally stumble into business, and I kind of like to use that as an example for people who I meet and talk to when we're brainstorming ideas about where could my business come from? Where might I meet people? And it starts with just sort of saying, well, what do you like? And I really enjoy unlocking that with agents.
How many of you have ever sat with an agent at the Corporate Resource Center? They've hit a wall, they've had some success, they can't seem to make it to the next level, and somebody from the Corporate Resource Center sat down with you and them and talked about their branding, and talked about graphic design and print shop options, or help from maybe doing social media marketing or anything like that. Have you all taken advantage of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
That to me is just further proof. The leadership cares about the agents more, and as much as, if not more, than us. Anybody want to take off on that idea? Tom, you look like you're laughing at me.
Well, no, I just, to me, that resource is so huge, because every agent hits a plateau at some point. And then the question is, with life balance, do they want to move beyond that? And it's interesting to me because every one of those conversations has always started with why. What is your why? Why do you want to do this? How can we help you find a way to work within your sometimes comfort zone and sometimes stretching your comfort zone to get the growth that you want in your business, and to find ways to reach out. And I've found them to be an invaluable resource to helping me get those agents that really want to excel to make it over that hump. And it's just one more source of accountability as well as tools to help them get there. So,
and we should talk too about teams. We should talk about teams, because teams is a really big thing in real estate right now. Whether it's an agent that has assistants, whether it's a buyer agent assistant or a transaction coordinator, we embrace all of that. We want to help agents if they want to develop these systems to grow their own brand. We want to encourage them to do that, and we have the ability to do that as well.
I think a big focus is for us, or at least for me, is to get them to kind of stop working in their business for a minute, push pause and work on it. And sometimes involving the corporate resource center in that, whether it's forming a team, bringing in an assistant, they plateaued, how do we keep you moving forward, can help with that, because it's a change of scenery, it's a change of pace, it's different people. And depending upon what their need is, we've got a person who's an expert in that field. But just the idea of like, hey, let's just take a pause here and reevaluate. And it's always really refreshing. Usually you kind of have that like aha light bulb moment, which is really fun and super cool to see when it comes together.
I agree.
Agreed.
Going to change directions again. This is something none of you knew was coming. So get ready.
Uh-oh.
By the way, do we have any Stump the Manager questions? None.
I feel like Tom's been stumped already.
We have, so I'm checking with my assistant who is keeping track of comments. And she says a lot of people are checking in and saying hi and how much they love us. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sorry, Tom.
we're all people too. What do you do? What's your favorite way to unwind when you're not doing real estate? What's your favorite hobby, or what do you like to do? I'll go first since I knew the question was coming.
Like I'm being set up.
I really just like to decompress at my own house. I really love my home and I really love to just kind of be there, but I also love to go on vacation. And my favorite spot is Door County. I absolutely love it. All the seasons in Door County are beautiful. And that's become my new hobby, is exploring different pieces and places in Door County.
Mine's pretty easy. I have a 3 and 5-year-old, so things can be really loud and hectic, as you see me hiding in the basement in my guest room here. So a glass of wine or a beer on the deck, while the kids are outside playing in the summer, is just kind of my the grill's on. That's all I need.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with Megan. I enjoy a glass of wine, a cold beer. I love, one of my hobbies is barbecuing and smoking. I have a smoker. I'm regularly making all kinds of great meat out in my back patio, but travel as well, Nancy. I love to travel, and I just turned 50, and I went on a trip to Iceland with some friends about a year ago, and that was one of my best times ever. And so seeing more of the world is on my to-do list as well. So yeah.
Well, congratulations on 50. You look great.
Yeah, thank you.
And Iceland, what a trip.
It was good.
Awesome. Tom, do you want to check in?
I would say for me, it's my decompressing is to get out of town and on vacations with my wife. I spend most of my time trying to get ways to do that. Now with COVID, that's not as easy. If it's a quick getaway to decompress, I'm a throttle junkie, so I ride one of 6 motorcycles and go play in the woods, do whatever I need to do to get out of my own headspace, and or go do a track day on a motorcycle at Road America and relive things in my youth that I couldn't do.
I should say
that's why I joked I haven't grown up.
I should say, I also really love my granddaughter. A lot of you see her on Facebook. She's like my whole life right now. She's 7, but I bet you guys don't know we're having another one.
No.
Maybe 2. She's mom's a twin. Yeah,
wow.
Pretty excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Next summer. So I try to take one day a week where I'm just a grandma.
You look too young to be a grandma.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Brownie points for you. Okay.
Low hanging fruit.
Megan?
Stop it, Tom.
Oh, hang on. Do we have a question?
Jerk.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're getting towards the end of this now. Lastly, I want a big picture prediction from you, just coming from your thoughts only. What changes caused by the pandemic are here to stay? Because real estate has been affected greatly by the pandemic. We went virtual on a lot of things, and but we were still deemed essential. So what are your predictions 1 to 3 years down the road? What do you think are the changes?
Ones that are here to stay, I mean, I think everyone's gotten used to this sort of format. And so while it might temper a bit, because I know we all miss interaction and coming together as a group, the ease of it and connecting with people when they're a little further away or don't want to make the trip or the drive, I think this will continue, you know, where we can have buyer seller consultations this way. And even, you know, what people get when they're looking for a home. I think everybody from a selling agent perspective, listing agent perspective has kind of stepped up their game a little bit as far as photos and video. And so you just get a little more. So you can kind of check it off your list or know you want to see it before actually having to set up the showing and walk through the door. So I think the use of technology that will probably stick around for quite a while.
Anybody else?
I think the use of technology in the offices, in office management and agent training. I think about, you know, the pivot we made when COVID hit. We started utilizing through Zoom and Teams meetings for our agents to learn from agents from all over our entire operation, which covers pretty much the entire state. I think a lot of the agents really like the idea that they could learn from what are some of the people in the Fox River Valley doing versus North Central Wisconsin versus North Woods, and how are they growing their businesses. And it's helped build some relationships, I think, with some of those agents as well for referrals back and forth. And I think that's going to stick with us, as well as a number of the lending issues. We're starting to see closings where buyers can sign almost all of their documents the day of closing electronically, shortening closings to 20 minutes. I think that's absolutely going to be something the consumers drive that, you know, we were going to keep long term. So, but I really like the resource aspect of it for the agents from a training standpoint and a camaraderie. You know, the other day I had an agent who said, I want to do a mastermind group. And I said, it's never been easier. You've got a list of all the people you might want to include, start a call, and away you go. And you can communicate quickly and easily with realtors that are 4 and 5 hours away.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the technology piece, the way that different companies, including First Weber have embraced it, has allowed a lot of things to happen more remotely. And so I think as a result, you might see more people working from home. You might see offices maybe find that they don't need as much space as they had before. As people work from home and work in collaboration centers, I think that could be a big change. And I think that's nice. That appeals to a lot of people. It opens this job up to a lot more different lifestyles. And so I think that's good as well.
I think the thing that's interesting to me is that we've seen some national platforms come out and try to do like people-less transactions. And my take on that is that people are always going to be part of the transaction. You cannot do AI with frustration, encouragement, you know, any of that stuff. You know, somebody who knows what to do in the time of a crisis, there will always be the need for an agent to be involved. And at what level and how we do it, I think, you know, down the road that may be defined in different ways. But right now, I think the encouragement, the support, the things that we bring, the resource that we bring to the buyer and the seller, I think that's really our forte. And it's that kind of, you know, like we started out talking about, it doesn't matter what you've done in a prior career. It doesn't matter what you thought you were going to be when you grew up. This has become the most affordable and easiest way to become an entrepreneur is to become a real estate agent, plain and simple. So I'm pretty proud of us.
I think another byproduct is I fully expect to have more agents in my office than I ever did on the other side of this. I think a lot of them realize it's one thing to choose to work at home, it's another to have to. And they are just dying to get back into the office and be together again. So I think the collaboration on the back side of this is going to be huge.
I do agree with that. I think that we miss being together. We have some company events that we haven't been able to come together for a long time. And I think most of us are missing that. And, you know, the virtual meetings are one thing, and it's a quick fix right now. but we are so much missing each other. And I think that you're just never going to take away the need for that human interaction. So,
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm going to check with our assistant one more time. Do we have any questions?
Yeah. Somebody wants to know, how do you handle disagreements?
Okay. How do you handle disagreements between agents? Megan, take it away.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, do it, Megan.
All right. I want
Right.
to learn.
Well,
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it's difficult. And honestly, when you have those situations, I don't ever feel like there's a winner or a loser. It's just sort of, you don't want anyone to feel like they won and you don't want anyone to feel like they lost. And so ultimately, I think it's up to us to kind of shut up and listen, hear both sides and attempt to mediate the best we can. The same way our agents run into issues when they're negotiating with a buyer and seller. Ultimately, I think oftentimes we all have the same end goal. We all want to get to the same place. We all want to get through the closing with a happy buyer and seller. And so sometimes you have to take a beat. You have to kind of just step back for a minute. And sometimes that means, we'll revisit this tomorrow morning. But ultimately, you put two people together and you have a conversation. There's not really another way around it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with Megan. And I sort of feel like each person, when there is those type of situations, and they do happen where two agents are butting heads, is they just want to be heard and they want to be understood and they want to be treated with respect. And so even if you don't agree with one of the people and maybe they're maybe out of line with their opinion, I think giving them their time, giving them their respect and listening, just like you said, Megan, is the key. And then try to be fair and work it out.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as within the office, I'm trying to figure out where the question was aimed at, whether it was, co-broke transactional or if it was agents within the office. I tell people all the time when they interview with me that our office is a family in every sense of the word. And not every day do we all love each other, but they will always be, I think probably the biggest moment of pride I have had is the 5 times that I've had to put out an APB. We need help for somebody and they've had a family emergency. And if I were to pick one person in the office that was probably struggling the most to get along with that other person, it is always, always the first person to volunteer to help. And ironically, every single time, there's never been any money that's exchanged. They've jumped in and they've helped out just to help out because it's the right thing to do. So the disagreements, yeah, you can get a little bit of that every now and then. I agree with letting people talk it out, giving them a chance to be heard is huge. But, admitting that we're just, we're all going to have differences of opinions from time to time in how we handle things. And it's okay to do things in a different way. It doesn't make it wrong. Usually is how we work through those. I just don't, it's really rare that we actually have 2 agents within the office somehow butting heads.
I agree.
It is rare. Yeah.
I agree
It just
with
never
that.
really gets to that point. But it is a family dynamic. So
Yeah.
it's pretty real when you have this many people this close to each other and spending time together all the time.
Right. I think the thing that another stereotype of realtors is that we're all against each other. And I would say I have some of my best relationships with agents who work at other firms. We are cheering for each other, whether you think so or not. They don't have to be a First Weber realtor for me to want to see them successful and to admire what they're doing and how they're handling things. Everybody has their own way of doing this. And whether if it's a disagreement, like Tom said, between First Weber agents or from a co-broke agent or someone from another firm with one of our agents, I find the best thing is what Megan said. It's listening, it's asking them. Like a lot of times I'll say, in a perfect world, what do you think is the most fair thing to do? And, most people will answer that from a sense of what they would like, how they would like to be treated. And so I think that that's got a lot to say about the people that we're working with in this industry, let alone at First Weber.
Nancy, I think you could do a whole session on like debunking things about this industry, because it was a big one for me when I first started. I expected much more of a cutthroat atmosphere. And honestly, I can tell you that that nature now, sitting where I am, it's not tolerated. It's not acceptable in my office. And I would assume the same for all of yours. And so I think that was maybe one of the bigger surprises I had, is how much people really do come together and collaborate. You know, they're not all working in silos, even though they're all their own independent contractor.
It's like anything else, you know, we all have our own way of doing things. Like, I'm super comfortable doing video. I appreciate that you guys did it, whatever your comfort level is, but I also know that not a lot of people are comfortable doing it. And so we all have our way of getting out there and marketing ourselves, marketing our business, or working with people. And the fact that we're able to embrace that and help you grow it, I think that's really a big, it says a lot about who First Weber is, how we handle things, not only with our own agents, but with others as well. So, all right. Do we have any more questions? No more questions, guys. Do you guys have any questions? Do you want to talk about anything? The floor is yours.
Jeff just wants a beer.
Yeah, a beer sounds
barbecuing.
really good. Yeah, right, and some barbecuing. Yeah.
Well, we did really well. I have to
understanding.
say, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And for all of you out there watching, if there's any questions that you have, you can feel free to reach out to any of us or send us messages through Facebook, or you can find us online. First Weber, we've got Meghan Frasier, Jeff Kuhl, and Tom Weber, and myself, Nancy K. Smith. Thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thanks
Thanks,
Nancy.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.